As you heard earlier in the newscast, Pope Francis accepted the resignation of embattled Cardinal Donald Wuerl. The 77-year-old was under scrutiny for his handling of clergy abuse allegations when he was Bishop of Pittsburgh. Joining us now is Father Raymond de Souza, contributor to the National Catholic Register, owned, of course, by EWTN. Father, as you know, Cardinal Wuerl has been under scrutiny since the McCarrick scandal. Why did it take so long for the Pope to accept Wuerl's resignation?
Well, I mean, he offered it 3 years ago as per usual, but he was thought to stay in office probably till he was 80. He asked on September 21st after a rough summer in Washington. I think that it was unexpected. Cardinal Wuerl didn't expect the reaction he got, both to the Pennsylvania grand jury and to the McCarrick affair. The Pope had asked him in August to check with his priests to see what they thought. He did that in early September. He came back to Rome and then asked the Holy Father to accept his resignation. So it's, it's been a few weeks, but, given where Cardinal Wuerl was in June, when no one would have expected him to resign now, things did actually move fairly quickly after he met with his priests in early September.
Pope Francis wrote a letter thanking Wuerl and praising him for his handling of the scandal. The Pope seems almost reluctant. What do you make of the Pope's response?
Well, I think there's two things going on there. One is that though the Pennsylvania grand jury report did criticize the handling of some cases in Pittsburgh when Cardinal Wuerl was bishop there, his record, widely acknowledged throughout the church, is very good on sexual abuse. So the idea that he would have to resign over some cases almost 30 years ago, when his record since then has been very good, I think strikes some people, and I would include the Holy Father in that, as unfair. The Pope defended Wuerl on the sex abuse business, but the real reason for the resignation is actually about Cardinal McCarrick. Cardinal Wuerl insisted all summer he knew nothing about that until it became public. In the Archdiocese of Washington, amongst his priests and amongst the lay faithful there, that claim that he knew nothing about it was not widely believed, and that's really what cost him the credibility that led to this resignation. That's what caused him to lose confidence of the priests there. So I think the Pope's letter went out of its way to praise him on the sexual abuse because that record is actually pretty good, with the exception of those few cases almost 30 years ago. But that's not the real reason for the resignation. It has more to do with the Cardinal McCarrick affair.
Well, in a commentary piece today, you say that Cardinal Wuerl lost the support of his priests. You alluded to that earlier. Was that a major factor in the resignation?
The reason I wrote that is because Cardinal Wuerl came to Rome in August to tell the Holy Father what was going on in Washington, and should he continue. The Pope said to Cardinal Wuerl, this is public knowledge, that he should go back and consult with his priests, which Cardinal Wuerl did, I believe, on Labor Day, early September. And after that, the decision was taken and announced publicly in Washington that he was going to return to Rome, meet with the Pope, and ask him to accept his resignation. So that meeting with the priests was central, both in the account that Cardinal Wuerl gave himself and in the account of the meeting with the priests in early September.
Cardinal Wuerl is the most prominent American church leader to fall since the scandal. Can we expect more bishops to step down?
Cardinal Wuerl's an unusual position because he was actually a bishop 30 years ago. Most bishops don't have that long of a record, and if they came into office after the Dallas Charter, if they followed the Charter, they won't have these problems that Cardinal Wuerl did. So it's hard to say, but if there are bishops who did not follow the Dallas Charter after 2002, they will be expected to resign, I'm sure, quite quickly. And we should also remember that in 2011, Cardinal Regali, Justin Regali in Philadelphia, resigned. Very similar situation. There was a grand jury in Philadelphia that reported on him mishandling cases even after 2002, and that led to his resignation. So it could be others going forward, but we've already had one example of this already with Cardinal Regali in Philadelphia, but that's already 7 years ago.
Okay, well, if it does happen, we'll continue to cover it, as well as National Catholic Register. Father Raymond de Souza, contributor to the Register, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thank you, Wyatt.